today is reincarnation. It's a very emotive subject because a lot of people are either for it or against. It depends on which side of the fence you sit on. But many people that are, I could say, researching or searching a spiritual pathway of development often connect to the thought of reincarnation, but sometimes have a few hang-ups about what reincarnation is. And for a lot of people understand it as a soul's progression in a physical form over many different lifetimes. Which may trip some people if they have different belief systems, and that's absolutely fine. I'm only going to work with those who want to work with the thought of that. But often there's many sort of hang-ups from this, am I suffering in this lifetime because what happened in last time? And many sometimes quite negative comments. It must be because I've done something wrong previously, or I've done something bad, or I am bad. Well, let's just clear this up quite clearly. The law of cause and effect, reincarnation, karma, all of these things are a positive thing and not a negative thing, okay? And we're not having a negative experience because of our last lifetime. We're actually going through a different set of challenges, a different set of rules. I sometimes call it like a things to do list. And if we're all busy in the office or wherever we happen to be, we write down the things that we have to do in life. And often on a karmic value, as the soul progresses, we have to learn different things. And often people say, oh, I really want to find out about my past lives because I'm sure this will help me in the future. And I know this has come up as a question before, but does it really help you? And the answer is truly no. It's a curiosity, and that's absolutely fine. But it won't change where you're going in life. What happened in the past, good, bad, or indifferent, however many points you've collected on good value karmic points, will not change what's happening in the future. The only thing will change it if you don't face your challenges. As you know, they will come back time and time again until you have a better understanding or you find the strength to go forward. Quite often, even though people sometimes ask, find out about my past lives, what I've done, where I've been. Yes, I can if you want me to do that. I do that for that person, but it doesn't really affect where you're going in your life now onwards. So it's great to find out what you've done in the past, but it's only a curiosity. As I like to say, you'll find out in the fullest sense when you get to head office, as I like to call it, and you'll have a chance to look on your video screen, your computer screen, a monitor, however you see it, and you have the chance to reflect in a more spiritual light, and you might be pleasantly surprised how well you have done. It's not by how much money you've gained in lifetime, how much you've accumulated. It's your spirituality that is the real benefit of any lifetime. That's the only real meaning of a lifetime, is find out how spiritual you are. Yes, we must live in a material world. Yes, we probably have to have jobs. Yes, we have to do jobs we don't really want to do sometimes, but the end of it is not the destination but the journey. It's really trying to understand how can I benefit from it, but in reflection how I can help other people benefit on their pathway. Sometimes people say, how many lifetimes have I had? And sometimes on a spiritual linking you can find out. But in all essence, for those who are still listening, in a positive vein rather than a negative vein, you've had a minimum of 35 lives. Wow, that's a lot to have. 35 lifetimes of experience. 35 lifetimes of experience as male and female. How often does a lady say, you'll never know what it feels to be like a woman? Well, probably in this time, if you're a male, you probably won't, but you might feel or sense a little bit of empathy or sympathy towards whatever they're going through in that emotional lifetime they have. You may have future lifetimes where you have a choice to be male or female. You won't just be one all the time, you won't be the other all the time. Sometimes people ask the question, will I come back as an animal? What's the point? What's the point with the consciousness you have now and the spirituality to come back with something that doesn't have that value? Yes, you could have had that experience many, many, many lifetimes before and learned to be tolerant and loving and learned to develop in the world. But there's no real meaning of taking all this knowledge, all this wonderful spiritual experience and going backwards. We need to go forwards. I'm not saying man is the ultimate goal, the soul is the ultimate goal, but the real experience is what you're giving to others. You only learn something to give to someone else. So let's just take it as an understanding that we can't learn everything in this lifetime. And how many times do all of we make those mistakes? How often do we go, ooh, I should have done that. Yeah, it doesn't, here we go again. Maybe it's in relationships. Maybe it's in work relationships. I don't mean having a relationship at work. I'm talking about working and not working it in the right area. Being true to yourself and true to your bosses often pays dividends, but the work sometimes can be challenging. And what else can be challenging? It can be challenging in the way that we have families, how we interact with those, friends on the social environment, all those sort of things. Who do we click with? Who don't we click with? So there are many different challenges we have on a physical level, emotional level, and also a metaphysical level. Well, our soul, the real you, not the shell that you see around, the real inside of you, that divine spark, that real inner voice, all that connects to your soul, that living spiritual energy, entity, whatever you want to call it in the most positive sense, that real living spark of creativity that is you, and you can make such a difference in your life as you can make such a difference in other people's lives. So that real essence of you learns. And as we get physically older, like all of us, we start to think in a different way. We start to think before we jump in with both feet. So let's take in a very positive note that past lives are really good because it helps us understand where we're going, where we're not going. So our soul is the real you, not the one that puts makeup on in the morning. And I'm saying female or male, it's up to you, what do you do? The real you is not the image, it's the person inside. It's when you stand next to someone you feel really, really good about something or really good about that person. There's that spiritual connection with your energies through your aura. And conversely, you might be around someone and go, don't feel that comfortable. Your energy should be telling you that's good or that's not so good. And I tell you, these women are far better than us men at picking that up. Sometimes the development through the third eye is really, really strong. They go, no, there's something wrong about your friend, just not right. I go, no, he's good, he's good. But time will tell for all of us. So what's the point of having past lives? How many lives should I have? How many lives and how often do people say, oh, I'm never come back to this life. I had it once I'm up there, once I'm in head office or heaven or wherever you want to call it, I'm not coming back. Well, the good news is, however you see it, you will come back. And you have an opportunity, and I've seen this before on the net, I've always been told spiritually, we should have up to about 100 lives, and hopefully we've got it right by then, and then we have more choices. More choices when to come back, more choices to work in those heavenly spheres, or more choices and more practicality to come back down to this earth plane and take a real meaningful purpose to help mankind, whoever it happens to be, for the better of them, for the better of yourself. You become a facilitator. And there are so many facilitators out there, but you have to listen and watch for the real ones. So I would say 100 lifetimes gives you the opportunity, if you've done your job right, to either stay up there a little bit longer or come down here and do more work. And for those who said, once I'm up there, I'm never coming back, well, there's a great life lesson to come out of that. It might be a bit like going on holiday. Holiday's great, however long you get it, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. If it gets on, you'll start to miss the old familiar. And the old familiar is the pull to the earth plane, our routines, our disciplines and all the rest. So we're not on holiday forever in heaven, but we do have to come back and share what we've learned. Help, encourage, support others. Love, light and support to others, however you link them together. And what is really important is we learn our life lessons, karmically speaking. And karma is there to help us. It's a great thing. Our energy builds as we do things and we learn, go, sorry, got it wrong, didn't mean to do that. I do apologize. It's genuine. You make those statements and you try to move forward. That is good karma. Trying to ignore things, being nasty to people, not being nice to people, just working for the self is bad karma. And when I say bad karma, you'll have to work a bit harder to clear that down. Have a realization, have an experience that you realize that you're doing your best and you're such an individual person to make a difference for others. That's so important. Okay. So we now understand, I hope you're working with me with this, either going yeah or nay, that karma is really good. Helping others is really good. Helping yourself is really good. Providing the outcome is to help others from that output. Sometimes their past lives are good, challenging, but we really need to understand as we go forward how important that pathway is to us. Sow that karma. Be good as you can be, but don't be a doormat for people. Realize perhaps your next life is going to be just as good, if not better. Are you going to be of service? Are you of service now? Have you got too many nagging questions? Is this too frightening for you, this whole concept of reincarnation? Because it's a great and fundamental process of life. And there'll be many who get to what I call head office will go, I didn't realize this existed. Sometimes I have to do funeral services for someone who's an atheist, someone who doesn't really understand any of that. And sometimes I've been called back to these people, maybe a few days before they pass, and they've said, come on, Adrian, what is this all about? I don't believe it, but tell me about it. Is there a heaven? Don't let fear get in the way. Don't let ignorance get in the way. Explore. If it doesn't work for you, that's fine. Maybe you haven't hit those 35 lifetimes barriers for you to move forward into that, accept that you have an eternal pathway to move forward. And don't worry about how quickly we're learning. It's not important. What's really important is how we learn, how we share, how we care with others. So in true essence, reincarnation is with all of us. Whether we like it or we don't like it, whether we understand it or we don't understand it, but it's a feeling good factor to know that as we go forward, we're helping others, we're helping ourselves, we're stimulating thought, getting rid of fears of other people. So reincarnation brought you to this level now, and with more as we go forward, they'll bring you even more. I wish you well on your pathways. If you have more questions, you know where to put them. I meant that nicely. Ask Adrian to reply at gmail.com or use the comments field below. It's a subject that you can't go over in a quarter of an hour, 20 minutes. There's still more questions, but maybe it's got to be your experience. Maybe you've got to send your thoughts up and say, I'm not sure what this guy was talking about, but I'm curious. I want to understand more. I want to feel more. I will sense more. Live for this moment. Understand that some of the things that we're talking about is so important to your progression right from now onwards. Maybe this short session is confirming for you that you already knew this. You'll only ever discover the truths already within you. It's not new, you're just rediscovering what's already in you. You have to learn as you go forward, but often you're accessing this subconscious database and going, actually, I think he's got a point. I hope that's helped. I hope that's stimulated a few questions. I hope it's settled a few ideas for yourself. But all I'm asking you to do is go forward, and whatever you do, and whatever guise you go forward, support, love, and guidance. I'll leave it with you, and hope to catch you again.